Yes, people, we are back. Let's bring back the intro. For the majority of the season,
Hold
and
on,
we have
what way
literally
is
got
this
no.
recording?
Hold on,
Are you
we
talking
got
about?
yes, people, we are back. I've got my favorite human being, Niall, with me. We are celebrating. We are continuing on the celebrations of England in what is it? The final. Is it the final? Oh, it's the final. It's in the
It
final.
is.
How are you
Yeah.
feeling, Niall? Give me your thoughts.
I've just had a shower. As you can see, I'm not on my normal streaming setup. I'm currently on my phone because my mate is gonna come round and Niall's gonna end this night as nights are meant to be ended. But now I do you know what? There is no one other than Southgate that could have got us through this. And I mean that. I mean that truly.
Yeah.
I think, do you know what? Southgate has earned a lot of respect tonight because I said this, and I said this in the watch along that I did, and you were majorly a part of it. If it weren't for you, fuck knows. We bring entertainment. Um, but no, I really do feel that I said, can Southgate or how are we going to respond going 1-0 down? I said that, and I was worried. At the point we went 1-0 down, I was like, oh my god, this might not. This is going to end in tears. But we dug deep, and yeah, people say it's an own goal and a pen, but who fucking cares? We are in the final of Euro 2020, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter that Kane missed a penalty and scored a rebound. Like we're
Yeah.
through. But it could have only been really Southgate that got us through this because I feel with Southgate, his pain that he had, the all the pain he's had as a manager, he feels that. He feels that. And wow, I mean, what a performance. What a performance.
No, I know it was really a fucking dope. Do you know what? Well, like me and you were on the same thing, like the level of when it got to half time, and we were like, "Fuck me, this is kind of. We need to pick something up. We need to do something with our lives. We need to kind of move something. We need to."
Yeah.
Change. We were literally saying before half time, bring Hendo on. Me and Niall
Yeah.
were shouting, bring Hendo on, bring Hendo on. Because
Make changes. Yeah.
we got to the point where we had had enough. We'd seen
Yeah.
enough. And I love Mason Mount, and Niall knows this. But he hasn't turned up this season. He
I
hasn't.
love him as well, Charles. I think he's brilliant. I love him. It's
Yeah.
such a talent, but my lord, I don't know if it's Tuchel plays him differently. I don't know what's going on with Mason Mount, but he's not Mason Mount. That's a concern. That is a concern. But yeah, we were begging for changes. I was less cutthroat like other people. I said bring on Hendo. I said that I feel like Hendo will bring that calmness that I didn't think we had. I said bring on Grealish. I mean, he did one thing. He didn't do both, but look, we've won and truly, I think that's all that really matters sometimes. We've
Yeah.
won. We're through to a final. I mean, the final against Italy at Wembley Stadium, like, wow.
Yeah. I'm really excited because you know what? It's been a fun one, guys. Link is in the chat, so if you want to join, we just chuck the link in the chat, because Russ is like, why does the link not work? But this is what we deserve. We've been waiting since 1966. And I think for a lot of people who are a lot older, there's a lot of younger generation being like, oh, this is annoying, the World Cup, the Nations League, and now this. But me and Niall, we've seen it through thick and thin. We've seen it through like basic bitch shit.
Unless you guys have seen 2010 World Cup, get fucked. Unless you have seen
Literally.
what happened at 2010 World Cup, get fucked. Like,
Guys,
I
we
want to
have
hear it. Like,
we have
have
Lewis
been through
and
far too
my
much.
favorite Russ. Russ, hold on. The dog is here to say hello. You say hello.
Hello.
Are you sleeping? You sleeping? You sleeping? You say hi to Russ.
Bruno better wake the fuck up, mate, because it's coming home.
It's coming home. Guys,
I physically
Russ, what are
cannot
your
think
thoughts
anymore.
on this?
I can't think anymore.
I'm struggling to sort of piece my thoughts
into
words, if I'm being honest with you, because I've had a small amount of beverages this evening.
We all are on the same page.
But what I will say is that
thank you for reminding me. I've just looked at how many empty cans I have.
If I had to sort of put it into words, I would say that it's definitely coming home.
Yeah, no, I agree. What are your thoughts on like the first half? Was there any changes you would have made? Was there any differences you would have made? Anything that you would have been like, you know what, actually I would have changed that?
It's hard for me to say this, but Mount was very poor today.
Mm-hmm.
I know, it's so hard to say that, isn't it? When he's been so good in Chelsea, and then you look at the way he's turned. But I think that Southgate's put him in the wrong position.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, to be fair. But
you say that, Charles, but he's in the camp. He's in the camp.
I know.
He can't go in the double pivot.
He just hasn't performed the way he did for Chelsea.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
What position does he play in?
A disappointing Euros campaign for him.
What position does Mount play for Chelsea?
The thing is, he's been moved around a lot.
He's been everywhere.
This is the problem: is that his initial position and the position I believe he should be playing is a number 8. But
yeah, I agree.
Obviously, he's been put into essentially a front 3 quite a lot of the time.
I would agree with the number 8. If we weren't playing with 2 centre backs, we play with 2 centre backs. At Chelsea, you play with the 3. So I'm gonna mince my words, but if he fucks up, there's 3 of them to cover for him.
Yeah.
If he fucks up in that double pivot, there's only Maguire and Stones and Walker that's just insane speed. So he can't go in that double pivot. It's got to a point where I don't think he can get into this side at the moment because he's not creative enough to be that cam. And that's not against him. He's just not that type of player. When he gets a bit older and a bit more experienced, he can play in that double pivot of Rice. But if he fucks up, there's only Maguire and Stones to cover for him. And, you know, we've seen what happens when them 2 get caught out. It doesn't normally end well for us.
No, I agree completely. It doesn't usually end well.
The key word here is experience, and he's a very young player. And as Chelsea fans, you know, we're obviously we're going to big him up, but at the end of the day, he doesn't have the experience realistically. Okay, he's won a Champions League final. And he played very, very well for us in Champions League, but it's a different team, and you know he's not necessarily just going to slot in there and be the same player he is at Chelsea because he's got a different system and he's got different players around him. So you know I don't blame him for not performing. I think that it's it's just a case of, like I say, he's got to get used to being able to sort of slot into different systems and different tactics and different roles, and that's something that will just come with experience.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It is experience that we need to kind of.
But I would say that he's not played as poorly as some people have made out. You know, I've seen a hell of a lot of abuse and absolute just slating of him, and I don't think he's been piss poor.
I'll be fair. I've said he's put an invisibility cloak on because I'm gonna put it honestly to you, Russ. You know me. I love Mount. I think Mount's brilliant. We could put a green bin in the cam position and he'll be more visible than Mount. Because unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, Mount has been invisible. He's hid. And you know, I don't just criticise Mount with that, because Rice has done the same.
100%.
Declan Rice has also hid in the big games.
Declan Rice has been a space filler essentially. He hasn't really done much. Okay, he's not made any particularly big mistakes or anything that has led to anything bad for England.
Neither of them have made mistakes, but they've both been hiding. It's as if both of them are in the changing room,
I can agree with
brushing each other off.
I can agree with that.
If I'm being brutally honest, it's like they're both in a relationship in the changing room.
I'm not, like I said, I don't think either of them have been particularly piss poor, but like you say, neither of them has stood out in the slightest.
Yeah.
Neither of them done anything particularly that's impressed me.
Yeah.
You know, anyway, Rice has been outshone by Calvin Phillips. And
I've got to go, so I'll speak to you guys in a bit, all right?
Bye, Niall.
Bye.
Catch you later, man.
Yeah, do carry on, Russ.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, Rice has been really outshone by Calvin Phillips, to be honest, which is not something I think a lot of people expected, especially considering that they're slapping a 90 million pound price tag on this guy. And so far in this tournament, I haven't seen anything that would warrant a team to pay that much for him.
No, I agree completely. You know, we've he's gone. Lewis, what did you think of the game? Let me know your thoughts.
Look, first half, take nothing away from that goal. It was superb, but it was really, really poor that first half. I was worried after that goal went in. I was really worried, and until the own goal, I was worried because we wasn't our best.
You and me both.
We was far from it. We was poor for our first half.
No, we were, to be honest.
Half. That first half, it was almost like we didn't want this.
No, I agree with you completely.
We were slow. It was like it was like the World Cup all over again, and I couldn't go for that again. I could not go for that again.
No, I agree with you. We literally were so poor. We really were. There wasn't really, like, the first half stressed me out so much because there were so many opportunities that we had and we didn't take them. Like, where were these opportunities that we took? They were gone. Like, Sterling had so many opportunities and it stressed me out because I was just like, just take them.
They all did. They had their points, but
some of these videos of celebrations are ridiculous. What the fuck is wrong with these supporters? Guys, I'm putting the link in the chat if you want to tune in. Like, all is welcome. But yeah, what did you think of the second half, Lewis?
Second half, you can't fault the lads, so we kept them quiet.
No, we really did.
We kept them really, really quiet, which I had to say, and like, I couldn't care less right now. Like, as much as it went to extra time, it really annoyed me because it shouldn't go to extra time. We should be in 90 minutes, not 100 and whatever it is, 20, whatever it is. We should be beating them in 90, but listen, we've done what we need to do. Bring on Sunday. bring on Sunday.
Literally, I agree.
I don't know what to say.
Russ says, I'm so sorry my phone died. Don't worry, Russ, we get you. Oh yeah, Laurie saw the granny twerking at the car. But I mean, this is amazing. Like, for the first time since 1966, like, we have made a final. I'm not gonna lie, I'm so excited right now. Like, everyone's ruled us out, everyone's turned our back on us, but I was too pissed to notice how low my battery was. Yes, Russ, we love that. But we do have Aaron with us as well. Aaron! Is he there?
Oh my God.
Give me your thoughts on everything. I want you to tell me the first half, the second half, the third half. Let me know your thoughts.
Well, first thing I'll say is I'm fucking dejected after all of that. That was amazing. That was an incredible performance. Harry Kane was exceptional. Raheem Sterling was absolutely wonderful. Jordan Pickford made a couple of world-class saves. Stones and Maguire's defending was absolutely heroic. Luke Shaw, Roberto Carlos. Oh, my God. Just everything about that performance was I'm so dejected right now. I can't speak. Oh, God. Lewis, you're going to have to help me. I'm so fucking dejected.
Mate, I don't know what to say myself. Like, oh,
God. It's just, like, I can't even sum up the feelings.
Mate, like, as much as I want to take this in, I want to feel happy. I can't, because I know we have to face such a strong Italian team.
Yeah.
I'm so focused on that, but honestly, this hasn't sunk in yet. Hopefully in the morning it has, but right now, it's I don't know what to say, because
oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure you watched both of the warm-up games and we looked so lost, so unconfident.
Yeah.
And to do this, like, I don't believe it.
It's just I don't know what to say, Charles. I'm in tears. I broke down.
Well, you saw me live. You saw me live. I was crying.
Honestly, like, I was in tears. I broke down. I was feeling.
Is that a McDonald's you've got? Is that a McDonald's you got? Because I'm about to get very angry, but I can't. In Wales, I can't order Deliveroo, and I can't get a McDonald's. I'm about to get very, 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 very upset. Man, like McDonald's, you Welsh pricks. Oh my God. This is amazing. I'm so jealous of you right now, Russ. But yeah, guys.
I wouldn't be, because I've just dropped a gherkin on my white jumper.
Karma's a bitch, isn't it?
Oh, Russ, what are you thinking, mate? That was
a little bit pissed. Hence why I'm eating a McDonald's burger on stream.
Fair enough.
Jealous as fuck.
What can I say other than it's coming home?
Valve says, guys, Aaron cried on stream. Let's go fun page. Let's get him to 35k. Russ, stop making me hungry. Yeah, I know, Russ. You really need to stop making us all feel hungry. You know,
because England's now in the final. I've got a weekend of football, because on Saturday I'm going to watch a Donny pre-season match against Rossington, and then on Sunday is the final. So I've got a weekend of football matches to watch, both in stadium and out of stadium. So I'm fucking buzzing.
I'm not going to lie, I'm very happy. I've got 3 days off: Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
I think everyone's going on a national holiday on. I think everyone's going on like a national holiday weekend or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Right. I'm gonna go and watch ITV News coverage of the fans' reactions. So I'll see you guys hopefully after the final, if I'm not pissed.
All right, see you then. Russ, let's finish off your thoughts on the game before your phone died. I can't hear you, Russ.
I haven't got my headphones in because I've got my phone plugged in.
Right, I can hear you now.
But I can't remember where I got to.
You were talking about the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't obviously the most crazily convincing performance. The fact that we needed extra time is a bit worrying to me. Coming into a match against a very in-form Italy team. But no, I think, we played relatively well. I think there was some poor performances from some people, but there was some very good, promising performances from a lot of our players. I think, again, Harry Kane, he played great against Ukraine, but we haven't seen the best of him so far in this Euros in general. I think, Harry Kane's going to have to be he's going to have to perform in the final big time. Italy are a very well drilled team, shall we say. I don't think it's by any means going to be an easy match for England. I think that the Italy aren't particularly, no one in their team is particularly the scary goal scorer. They haven't got that out and out player that you're scared of. But as a team, they're brilliant. And I think that's something that England are going to have to really focus on in the final, is that Italy are so well drilled. They're always in shape. They control the game so well. I think that's something that England struggle with a little bit, is really controlling the game in the way that Italy do. We don't look as comfortable as Italy, personally, to me. I don't feel like, England don't look like they're the most comfortable, dominating team. Like I say, Italy, they don't have a standout, scary player for me. But as a team, they look brilliant. Mancini's done an incredible job with the players on offer to him.
No, I definitely agree. But I think we need to kind of stop uplifting Italy fans, if that makes sense, guys. Because for me, Italy aren't as... Oh, hello, Bruno. Italy aren't... Oh, look, say hi to Russ. He's your favourite person. Say hi. Say hi. Italy, for me, aren't as scary as we put them in that bracket. I think, look at them against Spain. Spain aren't the best team in the world, but they've really struggled to beat them. So I think, yes, we need to be wary of them. And I agree with you on that note. We need to not be like, oh, this is going to be easy. But they need to be wary of us as well.
No, but
look at what we did to Germany.
The way I look at it is I agree with you that they're not a scary team, but I think they're such a well organised team, and they're so good at just controlling the tempo of the game to the level that they want it. And I think obviously I'm biased. I think a lot of that is to do with Jorginho. But like I said, I think there's no one particularly in that Italy team who you think, oh, they're the scary player. They're the one who's gonna bang in goals for them. They haven't got that single player. They haven't got that Harry Kane, that Ronaldo. But I just think as a unit, when you've got all those 11 players together, they just seem to sync very well. They're well drilled, and I think England will struggle to control the game against Italy. I think Italy will control the tempo of the game against England in the final. But if you're talking about who has the killer instinct and the players to cut through and make that killer pass, Harry Kane and players like, I think England have the firepower to cut through Italy and get the goals that we need. But I don't think this is a game that we're going to control particularly.
Yeah, no, I agree. Ian, welcome. What are your thoughts
thank you.
The England game? Like, tell me your thoughts. What did you think of the first half, the second half, the third half?
Tonight was difficult, I think. It was a bit shaky in the first. The second half, we came out a bit more. I think it was... it's hard to explain. We're still holding our team back. I think Southgate's holding us back. It's just we can't find the ingredients for the midfield. If you get what I mean, there's something missing in midfield that we've not got.
That makes sense. I think for me, Henderson should have started. The experience and the knowledge should have started for me. I also think Mount's being played in the wrong position. So for me, that's kind of, I think for me, Mount hasn't really turned up. And I love Mount, and Russ knows this. I love Mount. But for me, Grealish should have started.
I'm not so sure. I think Foden should have started above Mount or Henderson to shore up that midfield. And then I feel we could have done a little bit more to hold them off.
Just out of interest, Charles, who would you start Henderson over?
Rice. It's got to be Rice, surely. For me, anyway, it'd have been over Rice. I think Phillips has performed a lot better, and he seems to be a lot more... The strength seems to be there with him. He knows what he needs to do. Rice seems a bit shaky.
He does. I think Rice, I don't know whether it's nerves or what it is particularly.
I think it's lack of experience.
I think that is possibly the thing, and I think maybe that is leading to a bit of nervousness from him. He doesn't quite seem, but then, as I say, he doesn't quite seem the player that he was at West Ham. But then we've seen it with a few players in this England team, like Charles says, Mount. We're not seeing the same Mount that we've seen at Chelsea.
I wouldn't have started Mount. I would have probably started.
We're not seeing the same Mount that we've seen at Chelsea, and we're not seeing the same Rice that we've seen at West Ham.
No, I like Mount. I like Mount a lot, but he's more practiced with Chelsea, so you get to see more of him.
I think that's the case with both of them, is that they're both inexperienced at an international level.
Yeah, but the way I see Phillips is the way Bielsa has handled him a bit. It's the way he's practiced, and it's the way he puts himself forward. And I don't feel he's had a bad game this tournament.
No, Calvin Phillips for me, I think he's been brilliant. I think he's well overperformed what I expected personally, and I can't say that. I can't sit here and say that I've particularly watched him a lot this season, and from what I had seen, I didn't expect him to be particularly, anything amazing at this tournament. But he's definitely, for me at least, he's definitely overperformed my expectations.
Definitely. I agree with that. Completely.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know whether it's a case of inexperience or what it is, but I don't think we've seen the best of Rice or Mount particularly. And with the whole Henderson thing, I can only assume that it's a case of Gareth's worried about his fitness, which is understandable.
That's why I didn't agree with the Grealish taking back off. I'd have took Sterling off to save his fitness for the next game.
Yeah, no, Grealish has looked, every time Grealish has come on, he's looked fantastic.
He was a little bit flat tonight for me. He was a little bit flat.
Tonight was probably the least impactful he's been coming on for me. But every time we brought him on up until tonight, I thought he's looked brilliant. He's looked sharp, and he's made a big difference to the way that we've played.
To me, he should have started all of the games, but from the start of the season, from the start of the tournament, I said Southgate wouldn't do anything. But now my faith is restored, I feel, and that's the way it is. And you've got to give him that.
I agree.
He's got us to a final now.
I've slated Southgate a lot throughout this tournament, but I think everyone. I think a lot of people were not impressed with the football we were playing at the start, but maybe Southgate has got it right in that we did need to be a bit more defensive than we would have liked. I think a lot of people looked at the attacking talent in this England team and think that we should go out and we should be all out attacking in every game. We've got the talent to go out and attack teams, but do you know what? Maybe Southgate has got something right in setting us up a bit more defensively, because at the end of the day, it's got us to the final.
Granted. Who would you choose as another attacker you would have taken? Because I feel we're short on attackers. Full out, full on.
For me personally, I think we needed Ward-Prowse's set pieces. As soon as Trent was out injured, I think we needed someone like Ward-Prowse for our set pieces. I think that's the main thing I think that we've lacked is someone who's a set piece specialist. Because at the end of the day, I look at this team now and I think, who should be taking our set pieces?
But if you look at who's taking our set pieces, it's between our set pieces. When we got to one point, it was Sterling, Mount, and Shaw, and they were all debating over who takes it. And I was like,
well,
you know what? Actually, one of you should have been given that responsibility beforehand.
Exactly,
and we should have. When Trent got injured, we should have brought.
Who would you give it to? Who do you give it to?
All three are so unreliable.
Exactly.
They're reliable.
That's exactly my point. None of those three
unreliable
players,
but reliable at some points and unreliable at a lot.
But this is what I'm saying. None of those three players are consistent all their set pieces are inconsistent, and that is why, personally, I think we should have, as soon as Trent was injured, we should have taken Ward-Prowse, purely for the reliability on set pieces. Is that in most cases on his set pieces, he can deliver a decent ball at least. And
granted, but that was not my point. My point was another striker. We have got no other striker apart from Calvert-Lewin on the bench.
Oh, Ollie Watkins. If that's what you're talking about, then
he
Watkins.
He was a good shout.
100%. Well, if I was picking another striker to take, it's Ollie Watkins all day.
Because I think that's what we missed.
I agree there. I think for me, he decided to bring a defensive player instead of bring an attacking player. And we needed more of an attacking player than we did a defensive player, to be honest.
It's not that. It's if Kane got injured in this tournament, which he's nowhere clear now, but it could have happened. We had nobody there to cover him. Nobody at all. I think nobody could have covered Kane.
Apart from Calvert-Lewin as well. Kane played poorly in the group stages. I don't think there's any arguing that Kane was not playing like Harry Kane in the group stages. And the third group game, we were through pretty much. Whatever happened in that game, we were going through, and even if we ended up in third place, we were going through. That was Southgate's chance to play Calvert-Lewin, and he didn't do it. So then, when you go into the next game, you either carry on with Harry Kane, or you play a Calvert-Lewin who's had no game time, and you can't then, in my opinion, you can't then throw Calvert-Lewin in the deep end without any warm-up. So, like you say, we were stuck with Harry Kane and no other options at that point for me.
But this is my point, is that we weren't prepared in the front half. Like in our attacking half, we were not prepared. In our defensive half, we have backup. In our midfield, we have backup. But in our attacking midfield, we had Harry Kane or Dominic Calvert-Lewin, both who are both injury prone, which means if either one of them gets injured, we're in trouble. There was no preparation for
that's what I'm saying. At that point,
now, I agree with you.
You realistically, you don't even have Calvert-Lewin because you've given him no warm up. You can't then chuck him in at the deep end when you haven't played him at all. The fact that you didn't give him a chance in that third game, for me, I thought that was bizarre, to be honest with you, because in the first two group games, Kane looked awful in the first two group games. That third group game where there was no pressure on us, that was your chance to give Calvert-Lewin some game time and just see what happens. At the end of the day, I can't. It's not any worse. It can't have been any worse than what Kane was doing anyway, because Kane had done nothing in those initial two games. So I think that was your chance to give Calvert-Lewin a bit of game time and just see how he did. Okay, if he does bad, you go back to Kane. It's not difficult. But then when you don't give Calvert-Lewin any game time in that third game, or not a decent amount of game time, you're then stuck, because you go into that round of 16. You can't then turn around to Calvert-Lewin and say, right, you're in. You're in the deep end. You're playing. At that point, when you haven't given him that game time, you're basically stuck with Kane at that point. Luckily for us, Kane showed up finally, and he played quite well. But it's an odd one for me to not give Calvert-Lewin any game time, and again to only take those two and not Ollie Watkins. I really feel like, personally, I thought Ollie Watkins deserved to be in the team. I thought he'd done really well towards the end of the season.
Over Trippier, I would talk Ollie Watkins or somebody
I
similar. I really would. For me, I think I don't know what Southgate's. It's hard to criticise Southgate at the minute because it's working. It really is. But tonight we were definitely missing in that midfield. Rice didn't perform at all for me. I don't think he did. And all these rumours of him going to Chelsea are complete and utter bullshit for me.
Thank you. I've said this for so long. I literally, Russ knows this. I've said this. I would rather have £60 million worth of McDonald's chicken nuggets than Declan Rice.
60.
60. No.
They're talking 80, 90
yeah.
for this
80
guy.
to 100, yeah.
If you think I'm paying £80 million for Declan Rice,
I want £80 million worth of chicken nuggets. Yes, please. Hi, Chelsea. Hi.
If you think I'm paying 80 million for this guy, you're on another planet. You know, this is
Phillips.
This is English tax at its finest. This is English tax at its finest.
Undoubtedly.
This is not an £80 million player. This is a £40 million player.
I'd take Phillips over him. I know the age.
I think he's a £29 million worth player. I don't even think he's
25.
Don't get me wrong. I think he's done well. He's done well at West Ham. But
but with the players around him,
this tournament has shown his limitations. Would I take this guy over Jorginho? No.
Nope.
No. Not in the slightest. Would I take this guy over Kante? Definitely.
No.
Would I take this guy, over pretty much any of our midfielders? Would I put him above any of our midfilders? No. To be perfectly honest with you.
Hang on. Just to take the bracket down.
Yeah, go on, carry on.
To take the bracket down, would you take him over Phillips? I don't think you would.
But I think that's the problem, is that this is what I've said all along.
It depends. Basing it, obviously, if we're just basing it off the Euros, then
just base it off the Euros.
Phillips.
You've got to take Phillips over him. You've got to.
Yeah, but I think this is the problem, is that when I said, when everyone, and Russ was there for witness when I said this, when I said I would rather not have Rice because he's a mid-table player. He literally is he works well at West Ham because he has players around him that suit him. He doesn't suit Chelsea. Chelsea have an ambition that means that we need results immediately. Like, look at Tuchel. He's been here half a season and he won us Champions League. Like, we need that kind of... That's when Roman Abramovich came in. We kind of had that... We got taught that we need everything now. I know it's not the right way to be, but that's how we got taught. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't see him working out here.
Yeah, but
I don't think he's better suited here.
But at West Ham, if you don't bring Lingard in, he doesn't look any half of the player than he's shown.
And I understand the want for Declan Rice in the sense that we don't have any player who could be considered an out-and-out DM at Chelsea. Jorginho,
I don't think you need him.
Jorginho is not an out-and-out DM. Kante is not an out-and-out DM. And I think the reason a lot of Chelsea fans want Rice is that he's the out-and-out DM, which would then allow players like Kante and Jorginho to go and do their role without necessarily worrying so much about the defensive side of the game. You know, I think a lot of Chelsea fans think that if we have Rice sitting in front of that defence that we've got, it allows our other midfielders to go out and be a bit more expansive and
Do you
not
think
have to worry
Jorginho is going to perform any better than he has done previous season? I can't see it. I can't. I really can't.
No,
he's not
personally,
he's not a bad player.
Personally, I'm quite happy with Jorginho, Kante. I'm quite happy with the midfield that Chelsea currently have in general. I don't think our midfield is the issue, you know. But like I say, I understand that some people want, because obviously we sort of play with a double pivot at the moment, and I know that a lot of Chelsea fans want to get out of the 5 at the back and the double pivot, which is it's understandable, because you know they want to see us play, like I say, more expansive football. So
granted, but
they want to get rid of that 5 at the back and the double pivot, and I think that is one issue that Rice solves, is that if Rice comes in, he plays as that DM, and we don't necessarily need a double pivot. We can then have 2 midfielders playing in front of him who allow us to be a bit more expansive.
You've just got rid of a player. You've just got rid of a player on loan in Gilmour that could have held that position.
I agree with you. I agree, but at the same time, I understand that Gilmour needs to. He does need.
Oh, he needs to improve. He needs to get that experience.
Gilmour needs more experience, and can a team like Chelsea afford to play Gilmour and risk having such an inexperienced player in that role? Probably not, which is why we're putting him out on loan.
Can you see Havertz not improving next season? Can you see?
Oh, Havertz is
Havertz showed
the
us
Premier League paces next season.
I know Havertz. To be fair, Havertz showed us what he's capable of towards the end of the season. Yes, it took him a minute. He had COVID. I respect that. He's bounced back. And towards the end of the season, he showed us what he's capable of. The only problem I have with any of the signings we have is Ziyech. I don't have any issues with any other signings but Ziyech. And my only issue with Ziyech is because he's 28 years old. How can he change if he's 28 years old? He's about to go into his prime, and his prime is this. I'm going to respect Ajax because they've mugged us off. Ajax have mugged us off. They've gone in being like, yeah, take him, go on, have him. And you can't change something that's too far gone. If he was like 21, 22, you could start changing stuff, even 24, 25. But he's 28. He's about to go into his prime. You can't change anything. All you have to do is try and adapt, and we can't adapt to him.
I think Ziyech, the thing that sort of disappointed me with Ziyech more than anything is his attitude. He seems a bit. I don't want to be harsh, but to me, he seems a bit entitled. He seems a bit like he's come into this Chelsea team and he's expected, I'm going to play all the time, and I'm going to do this and do that, and he hasn't sort of lived up to the expectations that a lot of people had for him, and I think he's struggling with that maybe.
Can I tell you something, right? I'm a Liverpool fan. I've been watching Charles' show. I've been watching The Terrace. I've been watching what's Gem's channel?
G&A.
Yeah, and I've been watching a lot of Chelsea, Man United, Liverpool football, but mainly Chelsea. And it's like Werner is going to come good. Werner is really going to come good. He really is. I don't feel
What was that, Charles?
I think the struggle.
What was that, Charles?
No, he is going to come good. He is going to come good. He is going to come good.
Let me hear it again.
He is going to come good. He is going to come good. No, but I think the struggle is the fact that this season, and everyone can admit this season was so tedious for Werner. Like, the amount of misses, you were like, just come on, get it in the back of the net. Like, you got to the point where you wanted him to get a goal, but it was the struggle.
Charles, he was playing at out position most of the season. Two short come in. He's changed the system up, and now Werner's got to change again, adapt to that. So now he's got the pre-season. It is.
I'm hoping it's going to be great.
Because
I'm hoping he adapts. I really do.
It's not that he ain't showing the outputs. He's showing that he can get in the positions. He just can't finish.
Yeah,
if he adds the finishing to his position, he's going to be a killer. Havertz as well, being a Germany input on that, they're going to team up and they're going to smash it next season. That's my point of view.
But I think, Russ, I've got a question for you. Do you think we should think about, because I've said this before, that we should sell Ziyech? Do you think I'm right? Because right now, how do you change someone that's going to go into their prime and isn't showing me anything? At least Werner is showing the attempt to try. Like, Ziyech is showing me nothing right now.
Can't hear you.
And come forwards.
It's a difficult one because we know that he's got quality. You know, we know he's got quality. We all saw what he did at Ajax. But, and this is the problem, it's the but. Does he fit into this Chelsea side? Not particularly for me. I feel like he's a quality player, and we might sell him, and he might go somewhere else, and he might absolutely smash it. But do I feel like he's settled into this Chelsea side well? No, not at all. I don't feel like he's settled in here. I don't feel like we're seeing the best of him at all. And like I said earlier, do I rate his attitude? No, not really. I haven't seen much from him that sort of shows me that he has the hunger to succeed in this side.
At least with Werner,
28 years old.
At least with Werner, no matter how much he's struggled, he's shown that he's still trying.
And
he's always shown that he wants to get that goal, and he's always showed that attempt.
Werner has the attitude. That is the big difference.
I agree.
Werner might be missing chances, you know, but does he just get himself back out there and try and try again? Yeah, he does. And his attitude never seems to drop, you know.
Yeah, but does Haaland coming in is what you're attempting to do? Does that disrupt Werner?
I mean, I think it challenges him.
I think
it challenges him, though. I think there's a difference between disrupting and challenging. Yes, disrupting is where it rips it apart and he struggles again. I think challenging, having Haaland here will challenge Werner to be the best person he can be, being the most capable person he can be, being the most talented or tactical person he can be.
Yeah.
I see him succeeding on the fact that you have to look at when he was at Dortmund, he had Sancho. He had someone to kind of make him work for that. So I'm seeing, like, if we get Haaland, maybe this will work for us. Maybe this will benefit us. Maybe he'll start being like, I've got to work for this. Let's do this.
The thing is as well, right? Where has Werner looked the most? Where's Werner looked the most threatening? for me, it's not when he's playing that number 9 role. It's when he's coming in off that left side. You know, Werner out wide looks better to me personally than he does going down the middle. So I think maybe bringing in a striker like Haaland, you know, and you put Werner out on the left, I think you could see the best of him.
Yeah,
you know, him and Haaland bouncing off each other.
That's beautiful.
And Werner
that's beautiful to watch.
I see Haaland up front and Werner behind him.
I think personally, I play Havertz behind Haaland and Werner out wide on the left.
Yeah,
I think you put Werner out wide on the left, Haaland down the middle, and Havertz in behind Haaland. And I think
we become dangerous.
Beautiful.
I don't see it. I don't see it. I don't see Werner on that wing. I see Werner as an inverted where he tracks in but you
have to remember is that he's not actually technically Werner isn't actually a striker. His main position was on the wing. Like before all this happened, his main position was on the wing. So we have to remember that before we. No, I get that. I get that, but I feel like he's played better on the wing because for me, when I see him as a striker, I see him struggling, him panicking, him not knowing what to do with himself, him being like, oh my God, I'm on my own. Whereas on the wing, he's capable. Yeah, but this is what I mean. He's better on the wing than he is, for me personally, what I've seen at Chelsea, he's better on the wing than he is out on the...
I think the thing is...
Big up to Perry. I'm going to go. Charlotte's coming home. That's all that needs to be said. Thanks for having me on. Holly says, I've got to teach kids in less than 7 hours. Yes, Holly! Yes, Holly. You keep going, hon. It's coming home.
I think as well, having Haaland in the centre and letting Werner go out wide, it takes so much pressure off of Werner. Because when he's playing as our sole number 9, he knows, you know, the pressure to get the goals is all on him. And
granted, but I think he's going to come good next season. I really
and he doesn't, you know, we've seen it a million times. You know, he's not that player who handles pressure particularly well. So I think
he's not. I think you know, you put
a player like Haaland there, and it takes the pressure off of Werner because now he thinks, you know, the pressure's not on him to score all the goals, and then he can go out wide, he can do what he wants to do. You know, he can make runs, and like I say, it takes so much pressure off him having a player like Haaland going through the centre. You know, it gives him the chance to basically be himself a bit more. You know, he can make his runs, he can do what he wants to do, and he's not going to be the guy looked at as, right, we need you to get all the goals. Because, you know, bringing in a player like Haaland, the pressure suddenly is on Haaland. Haaland is the guy that we need to score goals, you know. And I think that could potentially bring out the best in Werner.
If you don't bring Haaland in and you bring Lukaku in, I think that is a bad move. I don't know how you feel about that.
I personally, I want Haaland.
Haaland's great, but bringing in Lukaku instead is a mistake, I think.
I mean, it's a really hard one for me.
I mean, I feel like Lukaku's not a hard one for me because we've seen him play in the Premier League before. It's not like he's not messed up the Premier League before. I think the thing is, though, Serie A is more his style. It's slower paced. It works on just him, and it is just better suited to him. So sometimes I wonder, like, if we bring him back, will the same result happen? And that's one of my main concerns for me. Yes, I know Matt's saying, Lukaku's the top 3 striker in the world. Yeah, you can say that all you want, but bring him back to the Premier League where he's not in this slower pace, where he's relied on so much, and this fast pace comes back. Will he be the Lukaku we've seen in Serie A? And that's my main concern. It's the what if.
That is a big concern for me. Is Lukaku? We've watched him in the Premier League, and he's not the same Lukaku that we've seen in Serie A.
Mm-hmm.
However, he's definitely matured as a player.
I agree there.
So would
I'm not saying he's shit.
I'm not saying he's shit. And
more suited
player we saw last time.
Maybe. It's just whether he's matured enough to deal with the Premier League. That's the problem.
Agree.
When you get Lukaku, it's not like, he's going to be great. It's has he matured enough to deal with the Premier League? It's not, he has matured enough. It's whether he has. And I think that's the issue with getting Lukaku. Whereas if you were to get Haaland, he's good enough.
You run that sort of risk with any player you bring in.
Yeah, literally.
Can they do what they're doing in the Premier League? And Haaland, I think, Chelsea don't have a great history of bringing in strikers.
No, we agree there. We agree there.
We've seen time and time again, we bring in players who look the business and don't perform.
Literally.
But I think Haaland, he's a big guy. He's physical, and he gets in there and he scores the goals. And I feel like if you're going to look at any player who could probably come in and still do it in the Premier League, I think Haaland's probably that guy. He's, like I say, he's a big guy. He's physical. He's not going to struggle with the physicality of the Premier League in the slightest. We've seen him bouncing defenders off him time and time again. And he's also got the bonus of, he's very young. This could be a signing that we hold on to for 10 years. I think if you're going to invest a hell of a lot of money in a striker, for me personally, Haaland's the way to go.
I don't see Haaland staying for more than 3-4 years.
But that's the point. He's not permanent. He's not permanent.
If we get 3 or 4 good years out of him, that's good enough for me.
I think also, I think that if we get a striker now, it's not for the fact that we need a striker. It's the fact that we want to challenge Werner. We want to challenge every person who wants to be a striker. We want to push those boundaries. And for Werner, getting Haaland is going to push those boundaries and challenge him to be like, my place isn't solid there. My place is not like every match I'm going to be in there. It's not like that. And I think that's what we need.
Yeah, no, I agree with that in a way. But like I also said, I think it takes some of the pressure off of Werner.
Yeah, literally, I agree too.
Because, we can see that he's not the most confident player, and when things get tough for him, he struggles. And, playing him as a sole number 9, he looks, I don't want to say nervous as such, but he doesn't handle the pressure of being our number 9, the main person we look to for goals. While he's not in a goal scoring form, like he's not been at Chelsea, it's just even more pressure added to him when you're playing him as a number 9. And like I said, I think bringing in a Haaland type player
Russ, I'm struggling to hear you, mate.
Sorry. I think bringing in a Haaland type player, it takes a lot of the pressure off Timo, in the sense that he knows then that obviously he's not the sole player that needs to be supplying goals for Chelsea, because you look at Chelsea and you think, okay, well, where are the goals coming from in this team? Is it the striker? No, not really. Werner's not gonna, at the moment, in the form he's in, he's not banging in 15, 20 goals a season. Are any of our wingers gonna chip in and get 10 goals a season? Probably not. And again, with our midfield, Jorginho is not a goal scorer. Kante is not a goal scorer. Okay, Mount can bag, maybe 5 or 10 goals a season.
It's a bit early to judge Mount, I think. Personally, I think it's a bit early for Mount. Mount's
I agree.
Up and coming. He's going to be top class.
100%. I think, in a couple of years' time, I think Mount is going to be a 10 to 15 goal a season midfielder. Is he that right now? No, not really. I think right now he's a 5 goal a season midfielder, and I'm sure that will just slowly keep improving. But I look at this Chelsea team and I think, where did the goals come from right now?
And I agree, and I think the problem is that's the what. Do you know what? That's the one thing we struggled with. I think if we didn't have an issue with getting balls in the back of the net, because we don't have an issue getting the ball in the box, we don't have an issue crossing the ball. We don't have a problem with any of that. Our issue is getting the ball in the back of the net. Is finishing, is being able to finish that ball, to be able to finish that cross, and that's something we've struggled with.
Hear this statement, right? You started off with Lampard, which was mixed match. He weren't great. Now you've moved to the new manager. Can never remember his name.
Thomas Tuchel.
You've only gone that quarter of a season with him, and look what you've done. Now you've got a pre-season. You'll have a pre-season under him. I wouldn't rule anything out here. I wouldn't.
But this is what I've said, is that the fact is that I said this before we won the Champions League. If we were to win the Champions League with him in half a season, what the hell could we do in a full season? With a pre-season as well, being able to being able to get the players he wants for the transfer, because he was shoved in with Frank Lampard's transfers, which breaks my heart to say this, but Lampard didn't know what he was doing with them, and that's the harsh reality.
He was trying to set a foundation, which he didn't know how to do.
That's my point, is that he didn't know how to use these players properly. So, Tuchel came in, he knows how to use these players, he knows how to set up properly, and look at what happened from we went to Lampard in December, losing 3-1 to Arsenal, to winning the Champions League. None of us were when we first got Tuchel, none of us were we're going to win the Champions League. Obviously you wish that's the case. Obviously,
all you begged for was improvement, and you saw it, and you got more than you asked for.
But I think with the full season and the fact that Tuchel gets his own transfer players of his choice, I genuinely think that we can be contesting for Premier League champion next season.
The thing is, you've got to look, Tuchel's done this. A particularly lethal goal scorer.
Yeah.
He's won the Champions League without us having anyone in our team who you could say is, right, that is the lethal goal scorer for Chelsea. He's the guy you've got to look out for. Tuchel's managed to win the Champions League without that sort of player. So, I think you give him a Haaland or someone like that, who knows what this guy can do.
Big up to Daniel. He says, "Big up everyone. It's coming home." Yes, guys, it is coming home.
It's hard. It really is. It's difficult to see Chelsea going from where they are, well, where they were under Frank Lampard, under Tuchel, in such a short period of time, not added anything to the squad, and now they're putting these big money moves in. I'd like to see what they're going to look like at the beginning of the season with a full training camp, full pre-season. It's going to be nuts.
I've pointed this out.
Can't hear you, Russ.
Shaw will be able to tell you. I've pointed this out time and time again. Tuchel's come into this Chelsea team, and he's won the Champions League without making a single signing. Not one player brought in. He's inherited a squad that he had nothing to do with building. And he's won the Champions League. Back this guy this summer, and who knows what he can achieve.
But this is the point: is if he can win the Champions League on not having any transfers in less than half a season, what is he capable of doing with a full season, a pre-season, and transfers of his choice? I think that's the question you guys need to be asking yourself. Is not like, oh, he won the Champions League, like, cool story, it was luck. But what if he gets a full season, pre-season, and the players of his choice? What happens then? This man becomes unstoppable.
I'm unsure because I know Man City are going to strengthen. I know my team, Liverpool, are going to strengthen. Whether it's going to be good enough,
I think
or not,
every team is strengthening right now. I think every single team has realised they need to strengthen, because Chelsea, Man U, Man City are all strengthening right now. So Liverpool, Leicester, Arsenal, Spurs. I mean, we'll leave Arsenal, Spurs out, but like Liverpool and Leicester, they've realised they need to like buck up their ideas and be like, we need to strengthen our teams.
Yeah, but
because right now the competing top five are Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool, Leicester. Sorry, that's Man U. Yeah, top five. That's it.
Yeah, but
Arsenal don't need to Spurs don't make it.
Chelsea don't need strengthen. They need to bring out the best in what they had.
Yeah, I think the only thing we need to
top.
We just need a goal scorer. That's
our only issue.
That's it for me.
That is literally our only issue.
I see Chelsea fans saying we need a DM, we need a centre back, and this.
You need a goalkeeper.
You know what?
We need a goalkeeper.
A goalkeeper.
Yeah, you need a goalkeeper. Mendy ain't gonna do it.
Mendy. You know what? Mendy for me, I'm not changing Mendy. The only thing that I would maybe
I would gladly go into next season with Mendy.
Yeah, thank you. The only thing I would maybe change about is our CDM is maybe looking to buy someone, because the only thing I see is with Jorginho and Kovacic, they're on the same level. They work well together. But when you want to bring Kante into this, Kante is world class. And this is the same thing I'll say about Paul Pogba that I've said a long time ago, is that the reason Paul Pogba doesn't perform the way he does against France, against Man U, is because in Man U, he's dealing with McTominay and Fred. Against France, he's dealing with Kante. Kante and Paul Pogba are on the same level. So if you put them together, they work well together. But the problem is Kante doesn't. If you put Kante and Jorginho together, doesn't really work that well. If you put Kante and Kovacic together, doesn't really work that well, because they're not really on the same level. So if we're going to talk about, it's not really a need, but I would like someone else to kind of push Kante to the levels that he's capable of, because I feel like Kante's kind of been slacking with the fact that, like, and everyone knows I'm the Kante Hive stan, but he has kind of been slacking with the fact that he hasn't been able to be pushed to the level that we all know he's capable of.
Yeah, I can see it. Kante is taking an easy stroll. Not as easy as anybody who goes to Arsenal. I think that's the issue with Arsenal right now. It's once you go there, it's easy. It's get paid and go home. It's no fighting for the club, no fighting for a position. Just play a game and go home. At least at Chelsea, you can see there's a fight. And there really is. Daniel James, why did you look at, what was his name? Hakeem?
Yeah.
Why did you look at him? You've got Dan James, who's going to improve this season. I don't understand it. I don't understand why you'd look at... Yeah, he is world-class in a sense, but you've got Dan James, who can pretty much do the same job attacking. He may need to improve his defending side of it a little bit more, but he's still...
Even about Reece James, I assume.
Reece
James, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Hakimi transfer was a very weird one for me. I can only assume that obviously Tuchel is going to continue playing with 5 at the back, and he wanted an out-and-out sort of wing-back rather than Reece, which is, I understand it, but personally, for me, it's nowhere near an urgent part of the team that needs to be sorted out. You know, I'm not bothered by the Hakimi transfer in the slightest. I would gladly go into next season with Reece James.
Yeah, no, I completely get that. I think we've got a lot of the only thing that I can thank Frank Lampard for is the fact that he brought these youngsters into our team. Mason Mount, Reece James, Billy Gilmore, like we've had all these young players. Tammy Abraham, I know a lot of people want him gone. I'm included, but you still got to respect the fact that he brought Tammy Abraham into this team. You know, he's brought a lot of youngsters into this team that I don't think would have been brought in with any other manager. So you have to respect
100% they wouldn't. And this is one thing.
This is what I mean. So we've got to respect. We've got to respect Frank for that.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that annoys me about our fan base is that Frank Lampard doesn't get the credit for bringing players like Reece and Mason into the first team.
Yeah,
but
I think the problem is they don't separate. They don't separate. So for me, Frank Lampard as a footballer is still a club legend. Frank Lampard as a manager wasn't the greatest, but like he did fail, but he still brought these youngsters in, which we need to acknowledge. We need to acknowledge, accept, and always remember the fact that he's the reason we have these youngsters in our team. He's the reason we have Mason Mount. He's the reason Billy Gilmore, Reece James, Tammy Abraham. He's the reason they're in there. I don't think any other manager would bring them in.
I don't think Lampard failed. I think Lampard got chucked in a position that he wasn't ready for. And the Chelsea fans accept that. And maybe in the future he'll come back, but I can't see it. But maybe he will.
I agree with you.
He wasn't ready for that position at all.
I've always said this. He got chucked in the deep end where there's sharks and jellyfish that are poisonous and deadly, and he couldn't swim, and he was struggling to breathe, and that's what happened. Fact is, I'm glad Lampard took it for the youngsters, but if Lampard hadn't had taken it in 10 years' time, I would have been like, yep. If he'd have done a Steven Gerrard, worked from the bottom upwards, because he literally he'd worked for Derby and that's it. There's not an experience there.
Hang on. Lampard bought Havertz in. Lampard bought
It's
Havertz.
Coming home.
Lampard.
It's coming. It's coming home.
He bought these top players in.
Yeah.
top players in. So he knew kind of what he was doing. He just didn't know how to gel it.
I think that's the issue, is that he didn't know how to. He got these players that are really good for us, but he didn't know how to work with them.
Yeah.
Plus, trying to incorporate the youngsters in with it, it didn't really work out for him. So yes, we need to acknowledge the fact that he brought these youngsters in, because I don't think any other manager would have done that. But again, it got to the point where he was given way more chances than any other manager would have been given.
It's not only about that, it's about the fact that he tried. He did try. He brought these big players in, as well as bringing the youngsters through. He tried to mix them. He had a year to mix them. It didn't quite work out the way he wanted, but maybe if he had maybe 1 or 2 seasons, he'd have seen them, the best of them coming through.
But we are just coming, mate. We don't deal with this season, that season. We deal with, if you can't get it done, you're sacked.
Oh, granted, but why employ somebody who's so prolific for the club as a manager? Why? If you know you're going to do that I
think he's shown why, is the fact that there are a few reasons why Lampard was hired. And I'm not being horrible here, because as a club legend, Lampard is a club legend to me. But firstly, no one was going to take this job when we had no transfers. Let's be realistic. No one was going to take this job big money-wise. No one big enough was going to take this.
Are you sure?
Secondly, we needed someone who was going to bring the youngsters in. We needed the youngsters in. That's what we've needed for a long time. And Lampard did that. Yes, he bought players he didn't know what to do with, granted. But he's also brought us... Yes, he has brought players he didn't know what to do with, but Tuchel's been able to mould those players to make them better. He's also been able to mould the youngsters to make them better. Look at the difference from Mount, Reece James, Billy Gilmore at the beginning of the season to the end of the season. There's a huge difference.
Completely.
I think Lampard, to be honest with you, he was brought in as a stopgap. You know, I think they looked around and they said, right, we're in a shit position right now. Okay. You know, Hazard's left and we've got a transfer ban. Can we attract a top manager right now? Probably not. So how can we pacify Chelsea fans? Let's bring in someone like Lampard, who's a club legend, who, you know, no fan initially is going to turn around and say, oh, we don't want him. You know, you're not going to sit there as a Chelsea fan and say, we don't want Lampard. Because at the end of the day, he's Frank Lampard. Of course you wanted him. Okay.
Literally.
He's inexperienced, but...
Roman wanted him as well.
But he's Frank Lampard. But I think the hierarchy in the club probably thought, you know what? We'll bring him in for a season. He'll pacify the fans. You know, he'll deal with the fact that he's got a transfer ban and he's lost Eden Hazard. I don't think they ever really expected him to do as well as he did in his first season, to be honest with you. And I feel like he was probably brought in just to cover that season. All right, he'll probably do a shitty job, but it will pacify the fans for a season. Once we've got the transfer ban, if he doesn't do that great, then we've got an excuse to sack him anyway, and then we can bring in whoever we want.
He don't do a shit job. He don't do a shit job.
No, he didn't. That's my point. My point is, I think that's probably what the hierarchy thought, was that, you know,
probably
he won't do a great job because he's experienced, and it gives them an excuse to get rid of him in a year's time when the transfer ban is gone, and they can bring in a top manager. I think the reason that the plan sort of fucked up was that actually Frank Lampard did quite well in his first season. You know, he brought players through, he got top 4, and, you know, I think he outperformed probably what the hierarchy at Chelsea thought he was going to do. Literally. And then at that point, it's a case of, okay, well, now well, now you can't sack him at the end of that first season because he's done quite well. So, and then I think the fact that, you've only got to look at the fact that he went on an unbeaten run for 18 games in his second season. And then as soon as we got into a bad spot, it was like, right, now's our chance. He's not doing well at the moment. Now's our chance to get rid of him and bring in the manager that we really want.
Obviously, he was given longer than most managers. I think we have to acknowledge that is the fact that as a club legend, let's put it this way: Roman Abramovich has never released a statement for any manager leaving. Not even Mourinho, who won him a Champions League and a Premier League. He's never done any of that. And Frank Lampard.
Mourinho didn't win us the Champions League. Di Matteo did.
No, that's true. But for Mourinho built the team up. Let's be realistic. You have to give Mourinho credit when he built the team up. But in all honest, he never, any of the teams, Di Matteo, Conte, Benitez, Mourinho, there was no kind of, I wish him the best. There was none of that. But with Lampard, there was. So he was given that extra special treatment because he was that club legend. And also, Mourinho's never released a statement for anybody ever. So, yeah, I think he was given that leniency and he was given him that extra time to kind of try and prove himself, to be like, yeah, I've still got this. I can still deal with this. But when Tuchel became available, I think it kind of was the right fit at the right time, unfortunately, for Lampard. I don't think there was anything he could have done. I really don't. But, we have to respect what Lampard did for us. We really do.
Yeah, I agree. I think, he gets a lot of stick and some of it rightly so. I'm not going to sit here and say Lampard was amazing. He's not some tactical genius, but the thing that he definitely does deserve a lot of respect for is bringing through young players. We wouldn't have Mason Mount, we wouldn't have Reece James, we wouldn't have got to see Billy Gilmour with another manager, and I truly believe that. I can't think any other manager who comes into our team looks at Mason Mount and says, we need to bring that player back from Derby and get him in our first team.
Yeah.
Can we move back to the European Championship?
Yep. Go on.
Do you think it was a penalty or not? I've got a lot of hassle.
I'm going to let Russ answer this first.
Do I think what was a penalty?
So, obviously,
penalty decision. The Sterling decision.
The Sterling decision, do you think is a penalty?
God. Oh, my God. Penalty, no penalty, do I care?
I mean...
I don't care either. But I've got a lot of hassle over this over Twitter.
The fact is it that have you got hassle over the fact that you've said it's a penalty or the fact that it's not a penalty?
It's not a penalty. It's a penalty. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a penalty. And to be fair, I saw this coming. Whether it was a good penalty or not, whether it was you get those good penalties that you see like a clear penalties or some of those that aren't clear penalties. For me, it was coming. The amount of trips and tackles that had been made in the box that maybe hadn't been VAR checked or VAR had checked them and maybe hadn't made the right call or decision. I thought it was a penalty. Yes, I'm happy with the decision. And yes, I'm not going to regret it because we are in the final, for the first time since 1966. Hold on, guys. We've got Will in here as well. Will!
Hey, what's good, people? It's coming home.
Yes, Will. It's coming home, isn't it?
Yes. My comment was, it was...
Oh, he's frozen. Will, do you think it was a penalty or not?
To be honest, Charlotte,
I don't care.
Probably not, but I don't care. Yeah.
Literally. I know you way too well to be like, you just don't give a fuck. We're through to the final.
That's the thing. I mean, yeah, to be honest with you, it's probably a soft penalty. Is the way of I would personally put it. It was probably a soft penalty to give, but I'm not gonna fucking complain.
When I'm the
ref give it.
Guys, I'm going to rip everyone who laughed at England a new one when I'm feeling more up to it. I'm all the Scots, the Welsh, the Irish. I'm going to rip them a new one. I don't usually smoke people, but the way they laughed at us and looked down on us, I'm going to rip everyone who laughed at England a new one.
Yeah. Will, what are your thoughts on the full game?
I thought we were the better team.
Yeah.
I thought if at all the goalkeeper's in goal, I think he saves the free kick, to be completely honest. But it was a good effort by, I think it was Damsgaard or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a bit annoyed that when Christensen first went down, they made him play on, and then he did his hamstring even more. It looked like, which is a bit annoying considering the season.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shit one. The season is coming up soon.
But
look, man,
it's a good evening. Great evening.
No, I agree. Guys, moving on to Sunday, which is coming up very soon. Obviously, we face Italy, which everyone's been like a bit of a dick to me because I've been like, Italy aren't that scary. They've struggled under pressure. Bearing in mind, this is Italy's first time in a final since 2012. Yes, I know we haven't been in a final for a while, but we know what it's like to lose. We know what it's like to lose in big games. We've experienced that.
They don't.
So I'm wondering if that makes any difference. Will, we'll start with you.
I don't know, to be honest, if it means a difference. I mean, Italy got absolutely destroyed 4-0, didn't they, in 2012? But it's a completely different squad apart from a few names or a couple of names. England, I feel like, are a lot better than they were under Hodgson, under Southgate. I feel like they're more of a team. They're a unit which is hard to beat. And, I think all round, on paper, I'd say we should be the favourites, if I'm being honest.
We are not the favourites, Will.
No, but on paper.
I mean, if you're going to defend Italy, we have issues right now.
Their midfield trumps ours. But apart from that, their defence, I think it's arguable. I think we've got Luke Shaw in form. We've got great right-back options, better right-back options than them. Maguire and Stones, not as good as Chiellini and Bonucci, maybe, but a very good partnership. And our attack is better than theirs, 100%. So I think it's only their midfield which trumps ours. So I think it's pretty even.
Or Lorenzo Insigne.
I'm not sleeping on them. I predicted Italy to start to win it, but I don't know. I think we can beat them. I think we will.
No, I agree. I'm definitely, and I've said this for a while now, is that I think that we are capable of beating Italy, and not on the fact that I don't think they're good, but the fact is that when you look at Italy under pressure, they've struggled to beat Spain. They've struggled to beat, Austria. So when you look at this, when they get under pressure, both their games have gone into penalties. Now, that for me is a team under pressure. That's for me is a team under pressure that's struggling to deal with the pressure. So, yeah, I think Italy are going to struggle. Do I think it's not going to be England's easiest game? Yeah. But I think England are more than capable of beating them.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Italy struggled in the second half against Belgium as well. Not that many people are saying anything about that.
Mm.
You know that Lukaku, you know all those missed chances Lukaku did in the second half. A striker like Lewandowski, a striker like Kane would have buried those chances that Lukaku missed.
I mean,
yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know. Lukaku only really missed one big chance, and it was cleared off the line.
That's true.
Kane would have scored that.
Maybe.
I mean, maybe. I think in the right circumstance with the right people, maybe. But I think you have to look at the facts. Is that Italy have really struggled. Belgium, Austria, Spain. Spain aren't even that good. Spain have been struggling for so long, and what happens? Oh yeah, no, I forget. I'm sorry, I forget. Spain are struggling so young, they're so shit, and yeah, I'm still waiting for Italy to try and beat them in just normal time. I'm sorry, they had to go to penalties. They had to go to penalties against Austria. They had to go to penalties against Spain. What are they not capable of? Zach says Belgium. Oh no, Belgium probably is better than England. No, okay, thank you. Bye. No, thank you.
To be fair, there's one thing I worry about in the final. There's one thing. And
yeah.
I think Southgate has proven enough to me so far this tournament to keep him for at least another one, even if we lose. But
yeah,
you're breaking up.
Am I breaking up?
No, you're good.
Breaking up, Will.
No, I think it's you, Nippon.
With I think they've got Mancini though, and I think Mancini is a better manager than Southgate. That's the thing I worry about. He's proven Premier League winner at Man City. You know, we've seen the football they play. They love to keep the ball. That's how they defend all the time, keeping the ball. They don't like to give it away. They like to wait for the right moment to strike. But apart from that, I think we'll be fine.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Don't have a particular player as such that scares me. There's no one in that Italy side where you think they're the one who's going to cause you particular problems. But as a unit under Mancini, that's what scares me. Is the 11, all 11 players together.
Pull it together, Russ. We can't hear you. Pull the phone together.
It's having all 11 players playing under Mancini that worries me. There's no one in that Italy team who scares me in the sense of they're the main threat to us.
Yeah, I
don't look at that team and think, oh, it's him. He's the one who's going to cause us problems. I think it's them as a unit with Mancini as a manager. I think all of them as a team, that's what works. That's where they become slightly scarier opposition, is that they just play together well. They're well drilled, and Mancini, yeah, I agree. Mancini is a better manager than Southgate, and I think that's where we're going to have the issue. They don't have that Ronaldo. They don't have the Harry Kane figure who you can sort of try and shut down and focus on. It's the problem with Italy is there's not one player that you can say, okay, well, we'll just double up on him and that'll be problem solved. It's as a team they are good as a team. That's the only thing that sort of worries me about Italy.
No, I agree.
We, to be fair, we play in a very similar way to Italy. We play as a team.
I think, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think it's difficult. I think Italy keep the ball better than us. Their midfield is just it's the midfield battle that worries.
I think Italy will dominate the game.
Yeah. Well, the ball at least, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see us dominating the game against Italy at all.
Look, man, crazier things have happened. The last time Mancini was at Wembley, he lost an FA Cup final to a championship.
I'm not saying that I think we will lose. I'm just saying that I think we won't dominate this game against Italy.
You know, you don't have to dominate a game to win it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I just said. I'm not saying that we're going to lose. I'm saying that I don't think we're going to dominate the game. Whether we win or lose is another matter entirely. I think we're more than capable of winning the game. But I think England are not going to go into this game and dominate the ball.
Yeah. There's one player that has to start for me alongside Declan Rice, and that is Jordan Henderson. I think.
Yeah, I agree. But I think I was on Niall's watch along, and I was literally saying this from maybe about 30 minutes in, is that like maybe 20 minutes in, that Henderson needed to come on because we needed that experience. We didn't have any experience in our midfield, and we needed that because without experience, how are you supposed to develop or learn or grow? And you can't without that. At least have one youngster and then one experienced player. And I think when Henderson came on, it was kind of like it was better. Yeah. Like we needed Henderson on because without him, we struggled.
I don't know about everyone else, but
I'm switching to my desktop. That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
I don't know about everyone else, but in my opinion, I think Jordan Henderson is actually quite underrated technically as well.
Yeah.
He's an excellent passer of the ball. He's been good in big games. Obviously, he's more of a winner than Phillips as well. I know that will help. Won the Champions League, the Premier League, and in my opinion, he's a better player as well, all round than Phillips by quite a distance. So, him and Rice to me would be the two in midfield. Would probably Mount as the 10.
Definitely, I agree there. But guys, we are gonna wrap it up there. We've been going for nearly 2 hours. I know, shocking how we've been going for 2 hours. Celebrating the England victory, first time in a final since 1966. Ross, where can people find you? Celebrating England victory.
Am I pointing in the right place?
Pardon?
I said, am I pointing in the right place? So that is my Twitter at. You'll find me on Twitter talking a lot of nonsense usually, and on the Let's Talk Premier League YouTube channel.
Results. Nippon, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at the Nippon Sharma. You can find me on YouTube, and that's just my name, Nippon Sharma. And my Instagram is Nippon. Actually, let me just put it in here. My Instagram is Nippon with 4 I's and 3 U's.
Perfect. Will, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Will_CFC_, and you can find me on the First XI, and you can find me on KH No Filter Football.
Perfect. Guys, we'll be back on Saturday at 6:30 for a special The Wine and Football Show. You better be ready for it. Special guest, never been seen on before. Watch your back. Like, we're coming. You thought I was back? I'm back now. Guys, we will see you next time. Take care, guys.